Om Neelambujasya Balkomalangam Sita Samarupita Vamabhagam Panau Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Adorations Lord Rama, whose complexion is like the blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side, and he is carrying powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Continuing, we are in Bala Kanda, Sri Ramcharitmanas of Tulsidasji, Doha number 39. And we are towards the end of the Doha number 39. In a highly poetic manner, Tulsidasji describes the purpose and the glory behind his composition of the Ramayana. Rama Bhakti, devotion to Rama, is a central feature described as Ganga Nadi, Saryu river. By the banks of Saryu river, Rama was born. That river is poetically described as Ram Kīrti, Rama's glory. And the river, Saryu river, becomes a tributary to Ganges river. And also, Son river enters into the Ganges river. These points I have touched upon before. But these are all description of the glory of Rama. At this stage, let me tell you that God is called Bhagavān. Why is he called Bhagavān? There are 6 great attributes that relate to God. Samagra Aiśvarya, all godly expressions, lordly expressions. Everywhere in the world you see the immense power of God. God as love, God as mighty force, God sustaining the entire universe, biggest and smallest. Nothing is impossible for him. Samagra Aiśvarya. So wherever you turn your head, you are seeing the glory of God. Samagra Dharma, the second type of attribute. Dharma is the path of righteousness. Yato dharmas tato jaya. Where there is dharma, there is victory. But where can you find dharma in its absolute state? In God himself. He is the source of inspirer of righteous movement in life. When you are in confusion with is this right, is that right? Allow your mind to relax. Allow the mind to be steeped with the sweetness of mantra, surrender, and in a miraculous way, the conch will blow. God possesses Panchajanya conch. It separates the 3 and the 2. 3 relates to existence, knowledge, bliss. The 2, Nama Roop. Names and forms mingle with these 3 great attributes and they create confusion. But when you have purity of conscience, the illusions are broken away. I'm going to a little more deviating. As I remember now, we have been explaining the 6 attributes of God. First, Aiśvarya, infinite Aiśvarya. Second, infinite Dharma. Third, infinite Yash. Another name is Kīrti. Ramayana is focused on elaborating the Kīrti of God. All others are there, but Kīrti is highlighted. The Kīrti of God has been mystically described as the Saryu river. Again, if you want to go into Kīrti term, understand the role of 9 aspects of bhakti. Shravanam, you listen to the glory of God. Kīrtanam, literally means singing the glory of God, but implying that allow your mind to view the world as expression of God, and that type of awareness is like a song, a divine melody going within your heart. The world is filled with the glory of God. Kirtan points its finger to that Kīrti. The entire Ramayana has been focused on creating the mind that enjoys the Kīrti of God. The next attribute is called Shri, infinite wealth. Who can be wealthier than God? You can imagine that. The next attribute, infinite Jnāna, absolute knowledge. God is like the sun. And all illuminations on this earth are different types of relative illuminations, but all illuminations come from the sun. So the sun is the infinite illumination, and all reflections of the suns and many other emanations of illumination, they relate to the relativity of the world. They are Maya. In simple terms, anyone who gains fame, the source of that fame is God. Because anyone is not anyone but the soul, expressing through brain, nervous system, mind-body complex. And lastly, infinite Vairāgya. Vairāgya is completely detached from the world of Maya. And we always give the example of the sky. The sky remains always detached, but allows the clouds to come in, no matter in what mood they come in. And then they come, thunder, lightnings all happen, the clouds go away, but you don't see a single scratch in the sky. No one turns to the sky and says, oh, this is the mark of the time when a big hurricane came, and that is scratch. Similarly, God is unscratched, is Niranjan. Keeping these attributes in view, they are called Bhaga, the source of divine illuminations. And that's why we call Bhagavān. And that Bhagavān is rooted in every individual. Every soul is Bhagavān in a conditioned state. So, if these 6 begin to manifest through you, you must develop humility. That's God's presence is expressing through you, is not your ego's attainment. But humility doesn't develop, then you are moving towards the predominance of lower self, Ravana in you, with 10 heads, begin to dominate your personality. Continuing this theme of bringing out the glory of Ramayana, we continue. Manas mool mili surasarihi, sunat sujana mana pavan karihi, biche biche katha vichitra vibhaga, janusari tira bana bhaga. Saryu river is the embodiment of Kīrti of God. And that Kīrti of God originates from Manasarovar lake. The Ramayana is like the lake, that mystic lake. And when you are listening to Ramayana, you are listening to the glory of God. That's like the Saryu river. And this river becomes a tributary to Ganges river. It enters Ganges. Ganges river is symbolic of Bhakti, divine love, devotion. Whoever listens to the Ramayana compositions are like powerful mantras. This Ramayana has been sung, meditated upon through hundreds of years. Even prior to this Tulsi Ramayana, there was Valmiki Ramayana. The Tulsi Ramayana has gained a special mantric effect. There isn't a single verse in which Ra and Ma do not occur. And there are many other subtleties that Tulsidasji has taken care of. So those who listen to the Ramayana, their mind becomes purified. Ramayana makes your mind pavitra, sanctified, purified. And there are different stories and episodes. They are like forests and orchards at the banks of the Saryu river. If you are following the poetic simile of river, they must know that you go through forests and orchards. And those forests and orchards give you a special entertainment. Anyone who wants to take a plunge in a river gives leniency to his mind, enjoys watching the river, enjoys these swans soaring in the sky, birds twittering, even the squirrels cracking their nuts. All these are there in the Ramayana. There are squirrels, birds, swans. How are there? Episodes. Different stories imply connected with the Rama story. Uma Mahesa Vivaha Bharati Te Jalachara Aganita Bahubhati. Now the whole story of Shiva Parvati marriage comes in the Ramayana. And that we will go into detail later. But just in the very beginning, you must understand, Shiva was first married to Sati. Shiva is Brahman, God. But the story relates to the relative state. Soul within you is God potential. And that's Shiva. Intellect in you is Parvati potential, known as Sati. Ego in you plays the role of Daksha All those stories are interesting, that will come later. But every story is awakening the soul potential in every individual. Even the entire Rama story is the story of the potentiality of the soul. Your soul is Rama. As again to remind you of Hanuman's statement, Deha buddhyatu dasoham. Rama asked Hanuman, how am I related to you? Hanuman says, from the point of view of the body, I am a slave, you are the master. From the point of view of the soul, I am a ray and you are like the sun. And from the point of view of the innermost self, so rather to make it better presentation, from the point of view of the body, I'm a slave, you are the master. From the point of view of the mind, I am a ray, you are the sun. From the point of view of the soul, I and you are one and the same. So in other words, there are stages leading to enlightenment. First and foremost stage is to view yourself as an instrument in divine hand. In the second stage, a competitor with God. You are growing in the image of God. The term competitor is very allegorical. But every religion has handled that. And finally, realizing moksha. So, in this Shiva Parvati story, a profound insight has been given into the state that is unenlightened. From that state to enlightened state, Shiva sees Sati's destruction. Sati enters into fire. And there she is born as the daughter of the Himalayan mountain, Parvati. Likewise, you see the dissolution of your intellectual intellect, what's known as buddhi, rational intellect, and birth of intuitive intellect. So from intellect that is relates to ego, intuition relates to Shiva. And all the marriage procession, Baratis, so many people who come in, join with the marriage procession, they're called Baratis. They are Jalachar Aganit Bahubhati. They are aquatic creatures of many types. Bringing back to the imagery of Saryu river. Raghuvar Janam Ananda Badhayi, Bhamar Taranga Manohar Sai. And Rama's birth, that will come into Ramayana. This is the way Tulsidasji introduces you to the contents of the Ramayana. Not the old style, not the general style you just see in the page 1, 2, 3, 4, but in a highly poetic way. All the joyous celebrations relating to Rama's birth, they are the Saryu river's beauty, the special beauty manifesting through the waves of the Saryu river. The shimmering waves of the Saryu river, they are the Ananda Badhai, the festivity of joy at the birth of Rama. Try to understand, not get confused. You are being introduced to whole Rama story, but develop in your mind a bhavana, a feeling, as if you are going into a pilgrimage center. You pass through forests and orchards, and then you sit by the beautiful river or beautiful lake, and all this, now what you are going into the lake, how much profound that lake is. Within that lake you will be touched by the water. Some water will slip into your tongue. You will taste it. Some fishes will raise their heads and look at you. So develop that type of bhavana. In other words, satsanga should not be boring. The study of Ramayana has been presented in such a way that automatically it presents to you a satsanga atmosphere, even if you are not guided by people around. Bala charita bahu chahu bandhu ke banaj bipul bahurang niparani parijana sukrit madhukaravari vihang. 4 brothers, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna, just to remind you of their mystical implications. Rama is the embodiment of Bhakti, of Jnāna, the absolute knowledge. Here, since we are describing in 4, there is a specialized aspect of each brother. The Rama, Jnāna is the ultimate goal. And Rama represents absolute Jnāna. Bharata represents Bhakti, devotion. Devotion that is para Bhakti, supreme devotion. Lakshmana represents one who is a devotee, called Saguna devotee. And his highlight is Dhyana, a constant focus on Rama. And Shatrughna, the 4th brother, Shatrughna. Shatru is enemies, Ghna is chop chop. Enemy in you is impurities, mala, malos, anger, greed, hate, even sorrow, sadness, all this comes under mala. And mala has to be chopped down. Shatrughna is that karma yoga movement that chops are down, brings about purity in your heart. When you look at 4 brothers, there are 4 yogas before you. Shatrughna is karma yoga. Bharata is bhakti yoga. Lakshmana is dhyana yoga, meditation. And Rama is jnana yoga. 4 brothers, they are related to each other. The Bala Charitra of the 4 brothers, how these 4 brothers grow in their early stage. Children create a lot of stories. And if you go on taking pictures of them, you will have a whole volume to look on, even after many years later, giving in a joking manner. But the idea before you is that thinking of God should not be a stressful project. Generally, it becomes stressful because some Vedantins quote scriptures in such highlighted wisdom style that will make you feel foolish. But there is no need to feel that way. Develop all details of Rama as a child. Rama running after a bird. Rama opening his mouth to show that he has not eaten anything. Behind all that, there is a divine love, vatsalya bhav. And similarly, every phase of Rama's story, how he grows up, when he gets married, how he goes into the forest. There are countless details, and every detail becomes a basis for your profound devotional meditation, a basis for upasana. So Ramayana keeps your mind involved in upasana from the beginning to end. So Bala Charitra of the four brothers, they are like countless colorful lotuses in that lake. Sometimes they are describing the lake, sometimes Saryu river. So there is no confusion, they are one and the same. King Dasharatha, his three queens, and there are many sub-queens. You must also realize that these stories are not historical stories. They are basically mystical. Dasharatha is the soul in every individual, soul that is being led profoundly and in an intimate manner by three gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas. And then there are sub-gunas. There are many other queens. And all these queens, along with King Dasharatha, they are like brahmars, bees, black bees, hovering over those lotuses. And there are aquatic birds and aquatic creatures. Siye swayambara katha suhai, sarit suhavani socha vichai. And the story relating to Sita's Swayambar, that's where all great kings had come to choose, to let Sita choose one of them as her husband. That is Swayambar style. Sita represents Viveka-buddhi, intuitive intellect. And the goal that makes your life successful is to be wedded to Sita. But when you are wedded to Sita, you have to become a Rama. No one else can wed Sita. Being an ignorant soul, no matter how much intellectually you may understand, Viveka-buddhi is so great. So let me study the Vedanta. I will not sleep this night. I'll just study it. I'm just giving one simple illustration. But that way you cannot have Sita. You can't have Viveka-buddhi. Viveka-buddhi is the fruit of your spiritual tree. All sadhana that you are doing, purity of the heart will come as the first stage. Next stage, you will develop divine virtues. It's just like a tree developing branches. Final stage, blossoms with fruit. Fruit is Jnāna. Blossoms is Bhakti. Bhakti and Jnāna both are one and the same, two aspects. So Rama's Swayambar, Sita's Swayambar, is the beauty of the Saryu river. People come there and first they are charmed by the river. And in the Ramayana there are many episodes where question answers are presented to bring out the profound meaning of scriptural knowledge. These episodes, they are like boats. And the answers to those episodes, they are the boatmen that plow the boat. Suni anukathan paraspara hoi, patik samaj, soha sarisoi, ghor dhara bhrigunath risani, ghatasu baddha rama varabani. And when you listen to the Ramayana story, and then in your family, with your friends, in a mutual chit-chat based on that katha, that chit-chat is called charcha. I'm very sure the church term comes from charcha. They are the pilgrims who line up by the sacred river, these charchas. And you will find the episode of Parshuram. It comes during that marriage, during the Swayambar of Sita. And he creates a tremendous agitation. Parshuram's episode is like the undercurrent of the Saryu river. All these rivers have gentle aspects of their stream, and then there are undercurrents that put you in a whirlpool. So when you come to Parshuram level, your mind is shaken up the way a Parshuram deals, and the way Lakshmana banks upon his egoism, his pride. So all that becomes fascinating story. But behind the fascinating story, mind captures the story. And our intellect gets the job of chewing it. But sometimes, unawares, your intellect goes after it. And that's the benefit of swadhyaya and satsanga. Suni anukathana paraspara hoi, pathik samaj soha sarisoi, ghora pudhara prigunath risani, ghat subaddha rama varabani. This I have explained. Sanuja rama vivaha uchahu, so subha umag sukhad sabakahu. And ultimately, this whole context ends up with Rama marrying Sita. Uchahu, the celebration of Rama's and Sita's marriage, fills all people with this special energy in their heart, energy of joy. That's called Uchaha. Sanskrit was Utsaha. Any work you are doing, if you are joined with Utsaha within you, life becomes joyous. Your work is easily accomplished. But secret of that Utsaha is your mind has to attune itself with God. And the secret of that attunement is day by day life, and not temporary advice. Do this much and you will get that much. Even that is part of, has value. But the most important, if you allow your life to assimilate integral yoga, action, devotion, meditation, and wisdom, they all relate to four aspects of your personality. Action is your hands. Devotion is your heart. Meditation is the will. You may call it anywhere, neck. And Jnāna is the head. Just like your personality have to have a integration of these four, then you are really healthy. Otherwise, if you are only big head and shrunken body, or big body and shrunken head, or good body but shrunken hands, shrunken arms, you can go on imagining many more. So that katha of Rama and his brothers, and is now a specialized katha of Rama Vivā. This katha is like the flooding of the Saryu river. There are times the river becomes flooded, not too much to drive away the banks, but sufficient to raise the water and creates a special phenomenon. And people talking about Rama's marriage and all that happened and how joyously this whole story ended. Just talk about it. And they become joyous. Those who talk, harshit, pulkit, hairs stand on their end. That's called haripulation. That stage, when you begin to experience haripulation, is compared to you are entering into the river. You are already enjoying the water. Probably you have ducked in once at least. Rama tilak hit mangal saja, parab jog janu jure samaja, kai kumati ke kai keri, parijasu phal vipati ghaneri. And then this story moves on that now Rama is going to be coronated as the heir apparent to the throne. And Mangal Saj, all things of auspicious nature are put together. The whole city is decorated in a joyous way. It's just like during festive days, thousands of pilgrims come and you see a whole crowd by the Saryu river. So you are having the darshan of that type of phenomenon. But the negativity created by Kaikeyi is the moss in that river. Moss is of negative nature. It will slip by it. And it is Kaikeyi that brings about a tremendous catastrophe for whole Ayodhya. But this is a storyline, and we will be telling you later all the subtler meanings behind it. Because without Kaikeyi, the Ramayana wouldn't have moved on. Kaikeyi is the spirit of Vairāgya, dispassion. Rangame bhang. When you enjoy a life, and then suddenly something begins to make you aware that all that you are enjoying will not stay. Anityam asukham lokam. And if you are enjoying because of those, your enjoyment will lead you to sorrow. That type of insight came by the presence of Kaikeyi. Saman amitu tapat sab bharat charit japajag kali ag khal avagun kathan te jalamal bagakad. And the righteous conduct displayed by Bharata, that calms down countless adversities, countless utpats. Utpat is a significant Sanskrit term. You have a project, you are going for airport, but on the way your car strikes against a kiddie, that's utpat, or a bear appears near your car. I'm just joking, but so that your imagination will tell you what utpat is. Obstacles that come in your way. Life is always filled with obstacles. But obstacles, when you understand the role, just like day and night, your life flows through day and night. If you have a sour attitude towards night, you can't live your life correctly. In other words, painful times are like night. Joyous times are like day. You take advantage from both. A saintly saying, Dukh mein sumiran sab kare, sukh mein kare na koe. Jo sukh mein sumiran kare, to dukh kahe ko hoye. In adversity, when you feel very frustrated, then you turn to God. Oh God, how many mantras should I do of yours? But when you are in prosperity, your mind is saying, now I have become so much. How can I have more? Trishna najirna, craving doesn't decay. So that is due to ignorance, because that type of life is leading you to nowhere. But life that is spiritual, flowing to God realization, is based on this understanding that life is meant to adore God. So when there is prosperity, ask yourself, you have no problems. Open your heart to Ramayana. Go into the gardens of spiritual satsanga. Soar. Sit on the airplanes of spiritual understanding. Enjoy the shower, the torrential shower of grace. I can go on creating the imagination. So, sukh mein, when happiness comes, your happiness should be utilized this way. And when happiness moves away and apparently frustrating situations come, understand, divine hand is with you. And nothing is impossible for God. Also, there is purpose behind what you are suffering. Many troubles arise in you, they are only indications of impurities coming up to surface and being diffused. So in a healthy process of life, doctors become pleased when you have headache. Don't take it seriously. So, in brief, sukh mein, dukh mein, whether it is adversity or prosperity, your devotion and the subtle enjoyment of Ramayana that stream is not broken. And Rama himself gives you the great example. Prasannatam yanagatabhishekata. Rama is brought before King Dasharatha, who is making him heir apparent to the throne. And Rama accepts it, goes and prepares for it. And next day, same Rama brought before Dasharatha. He sees Dasharatha gloomy, full of grief. And he hears that Kaikeyi has banished Rama for 14 years. And he said, how wonderful. I'm going to have the opportunity of saints and sages. So his serenity of his mind was undisturbed. The lesson from that, it is serenity of your mind that fulfills the purpose of your life. Distractions don't fulfill your purpose. And circumstances are not the ruler over your serenity. Your serenity is your making. And that type of inner strength to be serene comes from study of Ramayana, singing the glory of God, doing japa, and being involved in integral yoga. Bharata's conduct calms down countless adversities. It is like the japa yajna. You go into sacred rivers, and by the banks of the river you find great priests come together and do yajna. That yajna aspect is presented by Bharata's character. Bharata is the japa yajna by the banks of the Yamuna river. And all the sins and vices and impurities that are described in relation to Ravana and the demoniac forces, they are the mud, herons and crows, vultures, or the ugly creatures. They are also there because so that you have everything there, good and bad. So Ramayana handles both. Things that are positive for your mind, things are disgusting, but the end result is your mind flows towards God with devotion. That's the real purpose of life. And with this I'm going to conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.